Hey, thank you very much for checking out Is This the Real Life? This is the second episode, and this is Flash. Hello, Flash. Yes. Happy Day Without an Immigrant Day. We're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about a few other things that have, I don't know, crossed my plate that I feel may be of interest to, I don't know, me. First thing we're going to talk about is my wager, I guess unofficially, with Chris Cordova, the filmmaker. A while back, I had made a tweet or a post on Facebook or something. Basically, I think that President Trump will be impeached yes, he is going to be impeached, I think. I know it's kind of unbelievable, but yeah, I made this wager that President Trump will be impeached before April 1st, within 2 months, I would say, roughly, within 2 months of his inauguration. And if he is not impeached, or if he doesn't resign or something else happens before then, I will go ahead and French kiss this dog. And that could be dangerous. I mean, he's got teeth. He might just bite my tongue off. Definitely unsanitary, but I'm not a welcher. Chris has screenshots. Not that I would try to deny it anyway, but he's probably make a movie of it or something. The reason I think the president is going to be impeached is because Dennis Kucinich, former congressman, I believe, was on Fox News the other day, basically talking about how ever since the inauguration occurred there, and the reason the government, the United States government, is in so much chaos right now is because there is a conflict going on behind the scenes between the newly elected government and the deep state government, or the bureaucrats who actually run the organizations that our government consists of. There is a power struggle going on behind the scenes between the new president and his people and the people who have worked in the government for decades, actually making it run. Because they consider themselves to be the real government. Although they are not elected, a lot of them are appointed by Congress, and these are very long-term appointments. They do not share the same ideology as the president in regards to geopolitical opponents and partners like China and Russia. And that's what we see here. And that's what we're seeing here when we see all these leaks occurring and all the talk of the president stopping the leaks, is because behind the scenes there's a lot of conflict in between him and the organizations that, in theory, take orders from him. Small argument I had with a friend of mine named Corey here. Basically, there are some individuals who, I'm not going to name them, but you'll see them in the story. Basically, there are individuals who have spent time working for the government in law enforcement capacity. Basically, they're the people who would run drug interdictions. They're the people who would bust marijuana smokers. They're the people who would bust marijuana smugglers before it had become as accepted as it is now. And they literally put, thousands of people in jail, all for, moving weed from point A to point B or smoking weed at some point. And now that marijuana has become legal in some places and is becoming a big business, we see a lot of these same people who at one time were busting people for smuggling weed and busting people for smoking weed, now buying into it, hoping to get in on the ground level of this marijuana, of the growth of the marijuana industry, and get rich off the same thing that they put people in jail for decades for. And although that, there's nothing illegal about that, I do feel it is a bit immoral. I think that it's very hypocritical for someone to have a career in law enforcement and then, lock people up for using marijuana just to turn around and take the money that was paid to you by the taxpayers and use that to start your own marijuana business now that, it's legal. Instead of being people who were going to try and get the laws changed at the time or to stand up for people who were powerless, they went right along and put people in jail just to go along to get along, but now have no qualms about taking marijuana from the exact same people they would have put in jail 10 years ago. And to me, that that's very, very hypocritical. And I get it that it's great that marijuana is legal now, but I think a lot of these people who spent time in law enforcement in the 80s and 90s should take a good hard look in the mirror and, ask themselves what kind of people they are. Because if you're the kind of person who is going to go ahead and put someone in jail for growing a plant or put someone in jail for smoking a plant just because someone in Washington tells you it's illegal, but then you have no problem turning around and selling that plant because other people in Washington have said, okay, it's okay now, you really are an automaton. You're someone who needs to learn to think for yourself, and I actually feel sorry for the people that are around you and the people that are in your life, because you're definitely a disappointment to me. But I guess since we really don't know each other on a personal level, it doesn't matter. There is the Day Without an Immigrant thing, and it's Happy Day Without an Immigrant Day. This whole immigration thing. First of all, we definitely need immigration reform. That is not in question. And I don't really have a problem with illegal immigrants per se, because, I mean, regardless, because coming to America is just an arduous journey in itself. If you come here legally, you have to have a bunch of money in the bank, you got to jump through a bunch of hoops and, fill out 10 years worth of forms or whatever. But even if you come here illegally, it's still a very difficult task, and it's nothing to nothing to sneeze at. It's something that takes a lot of effort, and I definitely respect that. But my problem is you give people a pass who have come here illegally. It's sort of a slap in the face to the people that have come here legally, that have followed all the rules, because essentially what you're saying is, hey, you people that filled out the forms, that did things properly, that came here legally, you're stupid. You should have just got a travel visa and overstayed your travel visa. You should have just come here over the border, through Mexico illegally. The fact that you went ahead and filled out the forms, and that you went and got permanent citizenship, that you took all the steps that were required to gain legal access to our nation, you're stupid for doing that, because that's essentially what we're saying to them. When we say that all immigration is the same, all illegal immigrants should be treated equally to legal immigrants. Or I could be wrong. If I'm wrong and you have a different opinion that legal immigration and illegal immigration are that they should be treated equally, please let me know. Post a comment or hit me up somehow. Send me a message, because I would really like to find out other people's perspective on this, as to, do you feel legal immigrants are being disrespected by the push to normalize and legitimize illegal immigrants? I feel that they are. I feel that it is a bit of a slap in the face, and it's very disrespectful to people who went ahead and tried to do things the right way. I guess most importantly, the reason I decided to post this today, I wanted to post it yesterday, but I didn't have enough light to get the video working correctly. In about 4 or 5 hours, maybe a little bit sooner, a friend of mine, DJ Ankit, is going to be showing a film he made at a place called the Smart Bar. It's going to be in Chicago, or it is in Chicago. Like with everything else, the link will be down in the description. It is a film called The American Jungle, a documentary about drum and bass and jungle music, its origins, and how it has changed or how it has evolved. It answers a lot of questions. If you ever wondered what the first drum and bass song was, it answers that question for you. If you ever wondered why the MC, or if you wonder who the MC is and why he won't shut up, it answers that question for you. But the point is that Jeremy's showing a movie tonight. It's a good movie. I encourage you to check it out if you're in the Chicago area. It's at the Smart Bar. Any questions you may have about jungle or drum and bass will be answered, and at least in the movie. I don't know. Maybe you'll have a question he hasn't asked yet, and I encourage you to submit that question to him. Maybe he'll make a part 2. I don't know. But thanks again for checking out Is This the Real Life? We'll hopefully get another post up soon, and we'll talk to you soon.